To Spain now, where 3 days of national mourning has begun as the death toll from the country's floods continues to climb. The region of Valencia has been devastated. It's the country's worst such natural disaster for decades. The Spanish Prime Minister says the priority now is searching for survivors, but he warned more extreme weather could be on the way. Charlie Frost reports.
Saved from the depths of destruction below. This woman is just one of the residents Spanish soldiers have rescued since 1,000 of them were deployed to Valencia last night. As 3 days of national mourning begins, their focus is still the search for survivors, following some of the country's deadliest flooding in decades. In front of flags at half-mast, the Spanish Prime Minister visited the region this morning, promising residents they wouldn't be abandoned.
We're going to be with you for as long as it takes, with all the resources and possible means. The priority right now is finding the victims, the missing, and to ease the anxiety and anguish that families may be suffering.
A year's worth of rain fell in just 8 hours on Tuesday, since the south and eastern parts of the province have become saturated. The force of the flash floods that have ensued, horrifying. This concrete bridge crumbling in the deluge as the river burst its banks. In the daylight, this is what was left. Elsewhere, cars pulled downstream, marooned in pile-ups. Inside some, the bodies of drivers and their passengers. Homes have also been inundated with water. Residents now battling against the dirt, mud and debris with brooms. But while some have lost their livelihoods, others have lost loved ones. At least 95 people have died, a number that's expected to rise as the water recedes. And the true scale of the devastation is laid bare. Charlie Frost, ITV News.
Well, our Europe editor James Mates has travelled to the affected region and has just sent us this update.
Well, 36 hours later, the water's reduced to just a trickle, but you can see from the damage that it's done just what it was like just a short time ago. In fact, if I can show you with the brown line on the side of that building there, that was the level of the water at its peak, which basically would have come up to my chest standing here now. The railings on this bridge have been completely swept away. Further down here, 4 other bridges have completely gone. And of course, for the suburban housing that surrounds this area, the water simply ripped through. Residents we've talked to have described how 7 p.m. on Tuesday evening, the water was coming up to their ankles. Many people went to try and move their cars, get them out of the way. 15 minutes later, it was up to their waists. 15 minutes after that, up to their chest. That's why it was so dangerous and why, tragically, many people didn't make it home. Now, this area thought it was resilient. It's important to remember this sort of storm is not unusual in Valencia or along Spain's Mediterranean coast. But this, of course, was many times worse than had been anticipated. These sort of ravines where the water is supposed to run away, it turns out, are completely inadequate to deal with the sort of storms that we're now seeing. There are going to be real questions, not just for Valencia, but for cities right around the Mediterranean and throughout Europe as to how they are going to make themselves resilient to the sort of storms that we are now seeing all too often.